Let's jump right into this explainer on one of the most breathtaking, yet historically complex monuments on the planet. We're looking at Sri Harmandir Sahib, globally known as the Golden Temple, located in Amritsar, Punjab. And if you're a history buff, you are going to find this story absolutely fascinating. It's revered by millions as the ultimate symbol of human equality, yet its historical timeline is deeply scarred by destruction, invasions, and modern military conflict. It really is a massive paradox. To understand this place as a living monument, we really have to ask ourselves a pretty tough question. How could a structure designed from the ground up for ultimate inclusion become the center of so much devastating conflict? Over the next few minutes, we're going to trace the incredibly turbulent history of the Golden Temple. We'll explore how its very architecture was built to challenge the social norms of its time, how it survived repeated destruction by massive empires, and how it endured one of the most tragic military operations of the 20th century, only to remain this unshakable beacon of hope today.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the founding of a sanctuary in the 16th century.
To really grasp the history of this revolutionary monument, we have to look back at the original vision of the Sikh gurus. In 1604, Guru Arjan Dev completed the hallowed shrine, and he deliberately placed it right in the center of a sacred waterscape. This is the Amrit Sarovar, or Pool of Nectar. In fact, it's the very pool from which the entire city of Amritsar gets its name.
What's amazing here is how the Sikh gurus used physical architecture to actively reject the rigid caste system of their era. I mean, these design choices were radically progressive for the 16th century. First off, unlike most temples of the time that were built on high ground to project power and dominance, the Golden Temple features a deliberately lowered plinth level. You literally have to step down to enter it. Just imagine that. Instead of walking up massive, imposing stairs, you are physically enacting deep humility before you even walk through the doors. Add to that the 4 entrances facing north, south, east, and west. This wasn't an accident. It signified that the temple was universally open to worshippers of all castes and creeds coming from all directions of the world. And finally, the shrine is approached by a causeway, creating this beautiful lotus metaphor. It's a symbol of living a pure spiritual life, untouched by the murky waters of the world, even while existing right in the thick of it. So, right from its inception, this space was designed for universal human brotherhood. In a profound gesture of non-sectarian universalness, Guru Arjan Dev specifically invited a Muslim divine from Lahore, Hazrat Mian Mir, to lay the foundation stone of the holy shrine. Think about how powerful that is. This wasn't just a building, it was a physical brick-and-mortar manifestation of a brand-new egalitarian philosophy. Moving right along to Section 2, the Golden Transformation.
Now, a monument of peace sitting in the strategically crucial region of Punjab was bound to face profound challenges. The historical timeline shows a cycle of destruction and enthusiastic rebirth. The foundation was laid in 1581, but the 18th century brought severe turbulence. The temple was repeatedly attacked and completely destroyed by Mughal and Afghan invaders. Yet, and this is key, every single time it fell, the community rallied and rebuilt it. It wasn't until the 19th century, under the rule of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, that the region finally found some real political stability. This era was an absolute game-changer. It not only secured the region, but transformed the temple into the architectural marvel we all recognize today. Between 1801 and 1839, Maharaja Ranjit Singh overlaid the upper floors of the shrine with pure gold-plated copper sheets. This magnificent, shimmering addition is exactly what gave Sri Harmandir Sahib its globally recognized epithet, the Golden Temple. Which brings us to a heavily charged and deeply tragic chapter in our history explainer. Section 3, Operation Blue Star in 1984. After surviving the shifting empires of the 18th century, the Golden Temple would sadly become the center of a devastating modern military conflict. In early June 1984, the Indian Armed Forces initiated Operation Blue Star. Now, the stated objective of this operation was to remove the Damdami Taxal leader Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale and his armed followers from the complex. But as we dig into the historical sources, they reveal starkly different perspectives on what actually transpired inside those hallowed walls. The events leading up to the confrontation escalated incredibly fast, completely isolating the state from the outside world. On June 3rd, the government imposed a strict 36-hour curfew across all of Punjab, suspending all public travel. Then, the electricity was cut, throwing the entire area into a total blackout, and complete media censorship was enforced. The Golden Temple was entirely sealed off just before the intense military assault began. Now, when we analyze the historical record impartially, we see massive contradictions between the accounts. The government claimed they were facing a heavily fortified military threat. They released a white paper alleging that militants had smuggled guns using the trucks meant for the temple's daily community kitchen, and even set up a grenade manufacturing workshop right inside the complex. On the flip side, independent civilian eyewitnesses reported a vastly different reality. They stated that the militants were just a small group of men possessing limited arms, which were used sparingly. Interestingly, historical sources note that the government's allegations regarding those weapons workshops were only actually made after the operation had concluded. When we look at the aftermath, the official reports and independent estimates show a heartbreaking discrepancy in the human toll. Official government reports placed Army casualties at 83 and civilian casualties around 493. However, independent estimates from journalists who were on the ground placed the civilian death toll much, much higher, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 people. This tragedy deeply, deeply scarred the community. The operation faced intense criticism for its timing, occurring during a major religious holiday, and the heavy loss of life. Capturing the gravity of the event, commentator G.K.C. Reddy described it as one of the biggest massacres of unarmed civilians by an organized military force, citing the vast disparity in arms between the two sides. The contrast between the temple's peaceful purpose and its violent history had never been more poignant.
Finally, let's look at Section 4, a legacy of resilience. Yet, despite being attacked across centuries and enduring the profound trauma of 1984, the Golden Temple remains this unshakable living monument. You see, its true history isn't just about the structures that fell, it's about the practices that survived. And this resilience is probably best embodied by the Guru Ka Langar. This is a massive, free community kitchen operating right inside the temple complex, and it's run entirely by volunteers known as Sevadars.
The scale of this is absolutely mind-blowing. Every single day, tens of thousands of people, enough to fill a major sports stadium, sit down together on the floor to eat as absolute equals. The langar is the active daily practice of the architecture's core philosophy. When you sit side by side on that floor to share a meal, it completely ignores your religion, your nationality, or your social status. It's all powered by seva, this beautiful Sikh principle of selfless service. No matter what historical war was raging outside those walls, this practice of feeding humanity has never stopped. It's a testament to a philosophy that simply refuses to be extinguished by violence or time. Today, the Golden Temple stands exactly as its founders intended way back in the 16th century. It isn't just a religious center. It literally embodies human brotherhood, equality, and hope for the whole world. So, what does this all mean for us today? I'll leave you with this final thought to reflect on. Through centuries of shifting empires, devastating military assaults, and immense loss, its core function hasn't changed one bit. It really makes you wonder, how does a monument that has seen so much war continue to feed tens of thousands of people a day in total, unwavering peace?